I've got a weird question for you. Do you know who Mike Braun is? Well, I don't either. Well, I didn't until last night. Mike Braun is a senator. He's a Republican senator. Now, this is key. He is a Republican senator from Indiana, who, honestly, if you're outside of Indiana, you probably have never heard of. However, Mike Braun was on Tucker Carlson Tonight last night, and he is quite the name now. People are pretty abuzz about Mike Braun on Twitter. And I want to talk about this and his appearance last night because I think there's a core issue here that we as conservatives really need to be asking ourselves. And we really need to be considering this in November. We need to think about this. And we might have an instance where we have two things that we need to weigh. The future of conservative thought, the future of the Republican Party, and the future of the United States of America. And we're going to have all of this to weigh. But a lot of this hinges on the Mike Braun appearance last night on Tucker Carlson. So I'm not going to play the video for you because I don't want to get copyright stricken. And I think you need to see the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it in the description below. But I'm also going to instruct you to Google it to find it because you really need to watch the full interview to get some clarity on what I'm talking about. Now, I will give you some background. So Mike Braun is a conservative... I hit the wrong button. There he is. Mike Braun. There he is. Conservative Republican senator for the state of Indiana. And Mike Braun has put forth a piece of legislature that essentially reduces qualified immunity for police officers. It greatly reduces it. It doesn't take it away completely, and he said that multiple times on Tucker last night. But it does reduce it greatly, and it does make it easier for left-wing radical activists to sue police officers. Now, there is a balance between having good cops who do the right thing, protecting people who want to actually peacefully protest, which does that mean anything anymore, thanks to the media, and qualified immunity. Qualified immunity has been used in the past, it has, to protect bad police officers. But if you're going to take this stance, you better be able to defend yourself. And last night, Tucker Carlson ate Mike Braun's lunch. He ate his lunch. Mike kept going back to the same talking points over and over and over again. He dodged questions. He didn't do it very well. He tried to slip and move, but he couldn't. He couldn't slip or move, and he landed right into a couple haymakers, and the dude just got annihilated. But the thing that he kept saying, the thing that I think is probably the most interesting, and it's something I want to talk about, he kept saying, look, if we don't do something, the Democrats are going to get ahead of us on this issue. The Democrats are going to use this issue to run against us in November. So we got to do something. Well, what an interesting stance to have. Why? Why should we run on anything that the Democrats are doing? Why is doing something necessary at all? He claimed that the American people are clamoring for this. I don't know, are they? I'm sure there are studies that say that that's the case. I'm sure there's surveys done. But where are those surveys done? Do we know that people in Indiana, let's just use this as an example. Mike Braun represents Indiana. We often forget that of our senators and our congressmen. They represent the states, the districts that they work in. That's the constituency that they represent. Jim Jordan doesn't represent the people of the United States of America. I mean, sure, he kind of does. But mostly, he's worried about his constituents. He's worried about his district in Ohio. Mike Braun should be worried about his constituents. He should be worried about the people of Indiana. And I know congressman, senator, but still, represent your people. Are people in Indiana really clamoring for police reform? Maybe they are. But I don't know. But anyways, we're going to get into this. I think it's really important to discuss who Mike Braun is, because that matters. Mike Braun might be one of these squishy Republicans who votes with Democrats all the time, and it would make sense why he would feel this way. But that's not the case. Mike Braun is pretty down the line conservative. I want to show you. This is from 538, and this is kind of an interesting statistic that this tallies, because, look, Trump's score, we have to conflate the two now. Okay, if you vote along with Trump, you vote along with the Republican Party, because Trump is the leader, the de facto leader of the party. Trump is the president. So if we look at this here, Mike Braun has a 94.7% career chance that he votes alongside of Trump. And you can predict, as a matter of fact, that because of the margin, you can predict 76.8% of the time he's going to be in line. And you look here, there are some issues that he's not in line here. The 2-year budget bill, for instance. Pretty conservative, isn't it, to vote against that? Here you go. Here's another. Disapproving of the withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan and Syria. I mean, look, Mike Braun is fairly conservative. At least. At least. But this piece of legislation that he's putting forth may not be the conservative view. I mean, from my understanding and from my discussion with conservatives, it is not. It is not. But Mike Braun's reasoning is what is really concerning. We have to get ahead of this, or the Democrats will slay us in November over it. Why are we caving to the mob? Your constituents, I can tell you this, the people who will definitely pull the lever for you, they do not want you to cave to the mob. And this isn't just a Mike Braun issue. That's the bigger picture. This is a conservative issue. This is a Republican issue. Republicans are bowing to the mob in a time where conservative voters do not want them to do so. Last I checked, Republicans were in control of the Senate. Why are we caving to the mob? Why are we even talking about police reform when people are out there destroying property, burning cities, and pulling down our history? Why are we caving to the mob? And that's the question that you need to ask yourself in November. You don't believe me? How about this? Let's take a look at what the Republicans are working on. Here's an article, by the way, from Fox News about the Senate, about the police reform bill that Republicans put forth in the Senate. Now, here's the thing. How come Fox News, who is traditionally seen as an ally, not talking about what was in the bill? I read this whole article. I didn't see anything about what was in the bill. I had to go to CNBC, of all places, and this is courtesy of them, to see what is in this Republican bill. And piece by piece, you look through this thing. Incentivize law enforcement agencies to ban the use of chokeholds. Why are we banning the use of chokeholds? If applied properly, a chokehold, which is just the name, it doesn't actually harm anyone. If it's done properly, that's the key, properly, it can be a very effective way of taking someone down and debilitating them so that they are not a threat. But it does so in a safe way if it is applied properly. If you train in martial arts, if you train in jiu-jitsu, you know how to put someone in a chokehold properly. The real key here, and I think we're going to see this as we go down this list, is that we just need better training for law enforcement officers. That's what we need, and that should be handled on a state and city level. That should not be handled by the federal government. The federal government should not be telling the cities how to run themselves. They should not be telling states how to run themselves. Get out. Let the cities deal with that. Ramp up data collection efforts. Okay, sure. But there's some questions there about how that's handled. Provide federal money for additional training. Okay, that That I can get behind. If we can let the cities do it, but you can provide some funding so that underfunded cities can train their police officers in a good way, that I can get behind. Include language? What the what? Include language recognizing the history of lynching in the United States? Can I ask just an honest question? When was the last time someone was lynched in the United States? Why are we focused on this? Strengthen penalties for falsifying police reports. Okay, sure, whatever. Require law enforcement agencies to send the Attorney General reports on no-knock warrants. We're so concerned about no-knock warrants. Create a commission to study issues that affect black men and boys. We know what issues affect black men and boys. Why are Republicans doing this? Why are they focused on this? Honestly, prior to George Floyd, one incident, was there any, big drive for police reform? Was that anyone's focus? No, it wasn't. The answer is no, okay? And they can tell you that it's been a focus for years. It hasn't. You know how I know? Because Joe Biden's been in politics for 40 years, hasn't done a damn thing for black men or women. Hasn't done a damn thing for police reform. He sure did back the crime bill, but he hasn't done a damn thing for police reform. Nancy Pelosi's been in Congress for, 700 years? She's as old as Yoda. She hasn't done anything for police reform. None of these they haven't even talked about police reform until now. But Republicans are the ones caving in. We're the ones bowing. We're the ones doing the bidding of the left. There's a lot of stuff I've heard the left talk about in this bill. Hey, cities are burning, guys. What are we doing? What are we doing? So this is the quandary that conservatives are going to be faced with in November. Look, we got to vote for these fools because we have to save the country. And if we let the left in, we're in big, big trouble. Now, I know Republicans lately have looked a lot like the left, but at least they quell it. But we really need to ask ourselves, once we get these fools back into office, just so that we can push out the crazies, we really need to ask ourselves, are these the people we want representing us? And then we need to have sort of a conversation within our party to get us back in line. We really do. It's time that these people actually represent us, the people who are voting for them. That's a novel idea, isn't it? I wanted to bring this up because the Mike Braun Tucker Carlson conversation last night is getting a lot of press, and I think it's important to know why. Why? We don't care about Mike Braun. I don't live in Indiana. I don't care. Keep voting conservative. This is a bad issue you're pushing forward, though. And it's the agenda of the left. So keep doing that. They're still going to come after you. They're still going to call you a racist. They're still going to call you a bigot. Mike, we can't get ahead of the left, okay? They eat us either way. Anyways, that's the video for today. I hope you guys like it. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you want to see more content like this, find our podcast. We do a weekly podcast, The Right Wing Vegan. It's a great show. Find it on Spotify, on Apple, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Go ahead and give us a listen and subscribe to that as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.